everybody, and welcome to another Ignite Equity Raise Day interview. And well, friends, we know we are in an age of clean energy. This is a mega trend. But still, we need to know how to take advantage of it and how to make it better and better. And that's why we are joined today by Dr. Paul Dalgleish of Greenhy2, because this company has a very special type of storage system that Paul is going to talk to us about, and he's going to talk to us, importantly, Paul, in layman's terms so we can understand, but there's product market fit, validation, and certainly the market has taken notice. And with that introduction, Paul, welcome.
Thank you.
Hey, Paul, Greenhy2, maybe back up for a second for people that are not so familiar with the company and your product. Maybe just describe it, and then we'll get into how this has been such a seminal changing year, or last 3 months, frankly.
Yeah. So Greenhy2 emanated from another company that did renewable energy as such, solar plants and other things. But we first changed path a little bit, refocused on getting storage underway, because the biggest gap in the green energy market is, of course, storage. So we always saw that the market for solar, it'll be highly competitive and harder to make a dollar out of, if you like. But the storage piece was never quite solved. We have lithium batteries, and we have probably two major flaws. Lithium batteries are good, but they have two major flaws, which are the longevity and the thermal runaway, of course, fires. And so those two flaws create a major cost to both people and consumers, and also a major safety issue. So we've been looking at technologies that solve that. So we went into hydrogen technology, where we had not hydrogen as such, but a hydrogen battery. So we used hydrogen as basically electrolyte, or as basically a carrier for energy. So we would make the hydrogen and then turn it into electricity through fuel cells. Hydrogen batteries solved both those problems from a thermal runaway and from a longevity point of view. We'd get 30 years out of a hydrogen battery, 40 years out of a hydrogen battery.
Right.
And, of course, the fire safety was a lot more improved, because we stored the hydrogen as a solid in a metal hydride. The issue with the metal hydrogen technology is its pricing stayed high, and was not, over a 40-year NPV, yes, you could show that it was more competitive than lithium ion. Maybe over a 20-year NPV you could too. But again, because of a lot of purchases influenced heavily by the capital cost, then, we were finding it very difficult to make traction into the market.
Sure.
In the meantime, supercapacitor have been there always. They're a very high power density. They have the highest power density of all batteries, but they haven't in the past had a high energy density.
Right.
Energy density that would compete with lithium ion. But they did have, so the amount of kilowatt hours in a kilogram basically was always a lot lower, 10% of a lithium ion battery. But again, supercapacitors never have a problem with thermal runaway, and they have a longevity that is phenomenal in comparison. So 1 million cycles compared to, say, a lithium ion battery that might have 4,000 or 5,000 cycles. So the advantage,
a million versus 4,000 or 5,000, that big a difference. Okay,
Yeah.
So in this case here for Greenhy2, you have a product that is safer, can last longer, and those are two of the major, let's just say, concerns around lithium batteries.
Yes, totally. And the problem with the hydrogen was that it had a low round trip efficiency, whereas the supercapacitors have a round trip efficiency greater than lithium batteries by a fair bit, like 4 or 5%. So you're talking now, and you get 100% depth of discharge, so you can use the entire battery, not 80% of it.
Right.
And you also get the temperature advantages, because supercapacitors can range between -35 and +70 degrees without air conditioning. So again, you don't have to have those added costs. The trouble with supercapacitors and graphene is that its energy density was low. But that was pre-graphene. Graphene has increased the energy density, and we're slowly getting closer to lithium batteries. And there's some OEMs that claim equal or higher than lithium batteries at the moment. They're probably graphene-based hybrid batteries, but they do solve both the problems. They solve the longevity and they solve the thermal runaway risk. And so now you've got products that are graphene-based. Graphene was always quite expensive, and in the last few years, particularly in the last year, it is now comparative to lithium-ion. So you can get something from the same capital cost as a good quality lithium-ion battery that lasts you 5 to 10. Well, it'll last you 20 times as long,
Right.
And doesn't have the risk of thermal runaway. So you've solved a lot of the problems. It does come with some other advantages: temperature and depth of discharge. You can use all the battery. It doesn't degrade over time. So that was some of the qualities of hydrogen as well. But they also have qualities of hydrogen that hydrogen doesn't have: round trip efficiency, and they're not complex like hydrogen batteries. They're very simple. So
But friends,
they fit nicely in solving both the problems of both the technologies, and they also then match with our other products such as solar panels. They last for 30 years, so does a battery, and they
exactly. And friends, don't just take Paul and my word for it. We have actually, Paul, product market fit and validation through the likes of the Telstras of the world, Horizon Power, the Fiji government. How are you landing those contracts?
So those ones were not. Sorry, they have not been with supercapacitor batteries. They were with hydrogen.
Right.
Now we've now offered Fiji government the hydrogen, the supercapacitor batteries, and utilities. So they're now at the point of view of utilities are starting to look at them. There's a home residential product again that's which competes with, say, a Powerwall, Tesla Powerwall, and so all those products will slowly be seen into the market. They've definitely been used overseas and in America and Middle East and around. Right. There's products in the UK. We'll be sort of introducing them into the Australian market in the next months, and we'll start to see they enter the Australian market. And I think they solve a lot of people's worries about lithium ion. One, you're not mining things.
Yeah.
They're made with carbon, and the fire risk is very low. Is
That's
much
right.
reduced.
Now, for the company itself, just recently, in fact, March 21st was a seminal day for your business. H2 Core, you put out an announcement, and obviously the market took immediate notice with your stock up multiple hundreds of %. What happened? Just talk to us about that.
So when we changed our hydrogen technology from H2 to H2 Core as a supplier, so we were in an exclusive agreement with one of the most advanced metal hydride technology companies, GKN, but their pricing was always premium and was difficult to
uneconomical.
To uneconomical. So H2 Core, we switched technologies to them, similar hydrogen battery, and it reduced our costing by a significant amount in comparison, like over half. And that also, in their product, they also had access to supercapacitor, graphene supercapacitor batteries. Since then, we've moved on to a number of different suppliers of hybridized or graphene-based supercapacitor batteries. So they can be sort of like half battery, half supercapacitor. But provided they have long life and provided they solve the thermal risk, we're not as particular about technology as we are about the solution. The solution is that we really want to get a solution that solves the lithium problem shortfalls. The advantages that come with even hybridized batteries as supercapacitors is that they supply some great benefits, and particularly life and safety, but they also come with these little, added benefits that beat lithium as well: round trip efficiency, and so you get more of the power back. Though 99% round trip efficiency means you can run everything through your battery and you really don't lose anything. You don't do that.
Incredible.
Yeah,
Anybody
and if
that
you've
has a mobile phone knows that after a few years they run down here. Now,
yeah.
Paul, for Green HY2, us as investors, these businesses they do require growth capital. Can you just talk to us about? There is a capital raise currently going on right now. A little plug here: we are leading that capital raise here at Ignite Equity. What are the use of these funds?
There's a planned capital raise, so yes, at this point in time, and the use funds. So we need growth capital to one. We're going to start to accelerate some of the products into the market. One of them will be the residential products, so the domestic products. We've never been super focused on that area because our batteries are always more competitive in the larger scale, and so we've always targeted utilities, Telstra's, telecoms, governments, and standalone power supplies, diesel replacement. The supercapacitors, of course, they use the same cell at all different sizes. Like lithium, they use them in big batteries and in small batteries. So we have access to the domestic products as well. We believe they offer, a significant advantage over the lithium ones because the home user doesn't really want to replace their battery every 6, 7, 8 years.
Yeah.
And they really are worried about fires. And so, I think that there's a market there. And of course, with the government subsidy
Right.
that's been announced just recently, and the re-election of the Labor government means that we'd be crazy not to use that product we have access to venture in the market. Same time, we're looking for the bigger projects, of course. So when we grow, we want to be able to grow with greater with the large projects as well. And so we're developing trial programs with telecoms companies to test and to verify our batteries. We've also put in for a number of panels of utility companies that will look at our batteries, our supercapacitor batteries, and so we need to be able to get those batteries into the market so that they can start to see, okay, yep, they perform as claimed, and those markets are quite large. I mean,
huge. That's what I was just going to say. This can set you up for the next several years. So certainly, growth capital, you are in that hyper growth stage. Paul, I know you're very busy and you're juggling a lot of balls, as we were talking about offline. If there was 1 or 2 points you'd want every investor or even prospective investor to know about Green HY2, what would they be?
We're focused on energy storage solely. That the solutions to energy storage, there's a number of them, but they have never been really perfect. And supercapacitor graphene-based batteries or hybrid batteries give the opportunity to actually solve nearly all of the issues around energy storage. And so, there's definitely a segment of the market who are looking for that solution. And they're, the Telstras of this world actually still use lead acid batteries because of a lot of them use lead acid batteries because of the fire risk. And we look at, you can't use your mobile phone. Not that we're looking at those size batteries, but you can't use that in the snow because it gets too cold. There's a number of problems that have been there. Definitely from a technical point of view, supercapacitor graphene-based batteries solve everything I can think of at the moment as an issue around energy storage. And so you'd have to say that it's a good bet for the future of now, I'm positive that Cattle and other major companies, BYDs and them, are going to produce batteries, lithium-ion batteries that perform better and better and better, and we'll have solid state eventually, solid state electrolyte. But if we start with the best technology that does all those things already, then that's going to improve as well.
Absolutely.
So our supercapacitor technology and hybrid batteries will improve as well. And at the moment, they're not getting the focus of your lithium ion. So can you imagine at the end of the day, if we start down that path, I think it's probably the better path to be on.
Paul, what a great story. Great to join you on this ride there. The future looks very, very bright, no pun intended. Paul, thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Bye bye.